Good morning, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and we are currently in Lipa, Batangas, kung saan po umuulan, umaambon, umuulan. Hopefully later, araw naman para makapaglaban na tayo. Today is November 15, 2022. It's a Tuesday, and we do hope all of you are doing well. You are all happy, healthy, and fine. And for those of you who are facing health challenges, we cover you in prayer and hope for the best because alas 6 pa lang ng umaga, so early in the morning, I found out that a friend's daughter landed in the hospital with dengue in Metro Manila. And so it's just a reminder for all of you out there, hindi lang po, not only COVID remains a threat, even dengue. And dengue can be very painful, very dangerous, and also very expensive. So please be careful. Make sure your surroundings are clean. You have mosquito zappers, etc. Labanan ang lamok para hindi kayo ang ma-knock out at madala sa hospital. Okay. Let's move on with our program today, this morning, and our daily starter. Very interesting. I hope I got this one right, but it is something that really got my attention, and it goes, you can never be too dead for your resurrection. Gordon Robertson, he's the son of evangelist Pat Robertson. And yun po, no, you can never be too dead for your resurrection because there are people who have gone through defeats, failures, broken relationships, etc. And they feel, wala na, patay na. Hindi mo na mabubuhay, you cannot revive something, etc. But when it comes to resurrection, whether in the spirit, the mind, or the heart, okay, you can never be too dead, especially with the help of the Lord. Kumbaga, yung kaitim-itim na ang puso, napapaputi pa ng Panginoon. Okay, so I'm just bringing that there because many people out there need inspiration, need hope. And that's what we try to do here on Agenda, is to give you hope. So you can never be too dead, kahit ano pa, no matter how bad the situation is, as long as you are breathing, as long as you have capacity for thought, as long as you master your will and you will yourself, you will be resurrected. Okay, let's now go to the front page of today's Philippine Star, November 15, 2022. The headline, DOJ summons Bantag. Okay, ito na yung high drama in the absence of major good news. The high drama still revolves around the Percy Lapid murder, the contract killings out of the Bilibid, and the fight between DOJ Secretary and Director General Gerald Bantag. Okay. The DOJ has issued a summon for suspended Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag, his deputy Ricardo Zulueta, and several other respondents for the preliminary investigation of the murders. Ang tanong, iisnabin ba? Because Gerald Bantag has said, as long as Secretary Boying Remulla is heading the DOJ, he will not surrender. Mukhang may mga kakampi na si Director Bantag. Alamin na lang ninyo kung sino yung mga kakampi ni Director Bantag. Okay, the top of the front page, the header, PNP states that 46 people or individuals were killed in drug war under Marcos. A total of 46 individuals were killed in encounters in firefights between the Philippine National Police operatives and drug dealers. So parang pinapakita lang nila that there is no policy of annihilation. There is no EKJ, extrajudicial killing, EJK policy, etc. So according to PNP Chief Azurin, they would rather reform the users and jail the pushers. Okay. First photo at the top corner of the left corner of the Philippine Star. The President Marcos and First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos arrived in Manila early yesterday following a 4-day visit to Cambodia. Yan po, going down the ramp, hindi walking down the aisle, okay? Going down the ramp of a Philippine Airlines plane. Meanwhile, coming out of the ASEAN conference, the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations have stated ASEAN wants peaceful resolution on the Taiwan issue. Even President Bongbong Marcos has stated that they continue to support the One China policy. However, they also insist on a peaceful settlement of territorial issues between mainland China and Taiwan. Okay. Yung pong napakalaking picture, that huge picture in the center of the front page of the Philippine Star is a photo of candidates in the Miss Earth 2022 beauty pageant dancing during a press presentation at the Cove of Okada, Manila yesterday. And the photo on the left side is that of Miss Earth Philippines, Jenny Ram. Coronation night will be on November 29. Ayan po sila. Okay. Meanwhile, here we go. Philippines down to the 80th slot in the Global Competitiveness Survey or Index, okay? Bumagsak na naman ang Pilipinas, okay, sa Global Competitiveness where we used to rank 70, we are now 80, and that's 80 to the bottom, okay? Hindi yan 80 to the top. 80 to the bottom, and we are only ahead of Indonesia, Lao People's Democratic Republic, and Cambodia. But the rest of our neighbors, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, wala, Vietnam, iniwanan na naman po tayo. Okay. That small box in the front page of the Philippine Star, Tugade-san, ito, another son. Anyway, Tugade-san named LTO chief. Okay, Attorney J. Art Tugade, son of former DOTR Secretary Arturo Tugade, has won the premier position of the head of the LTO kasi pinagkaguluhan po siya a few weeks ago, several weeks ago, when it leaked to the media that Tugade Dasan was going to be the head of the Manila International Airport Authority. But as it turns out, as we said, as we forecasted and pointed out, fake news. Nakikiramdam lang kung makakalusot. Eventually, the son, Tugade Dasan, was placed at the LTO. Now, what does that mean for you, car owners? As car owners, I can almost predict that under this new leadership, you can expect the return of the comeback and the positioning of all those private motor vehicle testing centers na hindi na tawag nila, hindi na bidding ay magkakatotoo. Okay, yan po ang prediction ko, fearless forecast. Okay, anyway, 2 kids per woman. Philippine fertility rate falls in spite of not having access to birth control pills and materials during COVID-19 lockdowns, etc. And dahil in spite of being bound in their homes most of the time, most women did not multiply the number of their children. They in fact went from an average of 2.7 children, they went down at 1.9. So kumbaga bumaba yung fertility rates. Okay, so dalawa na laang, hindi na 3, 5. Okay. Meanwhile, that photo on the bottom left of the star is a photo of Vice President Sara Duterte chatting with senators following deliberations on the budget of the OBP at the Senate yesterday. And yes, binigay po not only the budget of the OBP and the Dept, pati Intel pan binigay. Out of respect daw, sabi ni Sani Angara, Senator. Okay, sige. Okay. And then, last but not the least, photo of officials of Soler Resort Entertainment, where they featured lighting up of 2 24-foot trees and roughly 25,000 LED lights illuminating their Christmas tree at their lobby, iconic lobby. So ayun po, ayan na po ang ating, as they say, that's the front page of the Philippine Star. And now, let's go to our interviews. Today, we expect to have 2 interviews. The first will involve, let me just check with Gabriel here. Okay, our first interview will be because of the announcement of DOH Secretary, hindi, ayaw niya maging secretary, DOH OIC Rosario Vergere, where she said yesterday or the other day, those who got COVID might develop diabetes. Or if you already have diabetes in your family, there is a probability that if you got COVID, you will now, chances are, have even a higher chance of getting diabetes. Let's go to our medical consultant here on Agenda, a friend of the program. Let's roll out the video introduction for our interviewee on this issue of COVID and diabetes.
Dr. Rontgene Solante is a respected infectious disease expert. Solante holds various chairmanships in different hospitals. This includes the Section of Infectious Disease and Committee on Infection Control at Medical Center Manila, an Adult Infectious Disease and Tropical Medicine Fellowship Program at San Lazaro Hospital.
Good morning, Doc Rontgene. Thank you very much for your time today.
Hi, good morning, Sir Cito. Good morning to our friends also.
Yeah, Doc Rontgene, going straight to the topic at hand, OIC Maria Rosario Vergere of the Department of Health mentioned the other day that there are studies which link COVID cases to eventual development of diabetes in patients. Now, ano ba yan? Is that parang kumagano, it looks like, it seems like, or it's definite that many people who got COVID will most likely end up with diabetes, and why?
Yes, Cito, no? So this is a study done in the US, no? In a veterans hospital. Magandang study to siya dahil yung mga nagka-COVID at saka yung hindi nagka-COVID na nag-follow up doon sa hospital nila, they followed up for 12 months. So ibig sabihin, nung na-discharge and then after 12 months, tinitingnan nila, in-examine nila lahat nung sa bato, sa puso, no, sa lungs, including yung sugar level. And they found out na mas mataas ang risk nung mga nagka-COVID kumpara doon sa walang COVID na nag-develop ng diabetes during 12-month observation. So that's a very significant observation dahil itong paggagawa nila ng data na to, talagang pina-follow up nila every month, kinukunan nila ng mga blood tests until such time na to the point na itong mga pasyenteng nagka-COVID, they develop higher sugar and they have to be treated kasi talagang mataas ang mga levels nila. And I think isa sa mga nakita nila doon that they were able to prevent also the complications of diabetes when they were also following up this group of patients. So ang nakikita natin dito, unang-una, this is the first time na ang isang viral infection will lead to a long-term complications. And I think we have emphasized that na itong long COVID, isa to sa mga makikita natin in the next coming years na this will be really a problem. Hindi lang diabetes, may mga data na can also lead to stroke, heart failure. And then yung iba, mayroon ng mga bagong data ngayon na sometimes they have history of COVID, they have malignancy, and even in the younger population, yung mga cancer sa atay, cancer sa bituka. And this is something na the first time we've heard of this type of complication of a viral infection.
Okay, because I'm a poultryman, I know that of viral infections in chickens that eventually develop into severe complications that may not necessarily start with the infection. Kumbaga, sa hayop, nangyayari na yan. So, hindi malayo na mangyari yan sa tao. But my first question is, does it involve serious COVID, severe COVID, or even regular? Kasi di ba ang dami na ngayon nagsasabi, okay lang akong tamaan ng COVID kasi para na lang trangkaso, especially those vaccinated. This study in that Veterans Hospital in America, what type of COVID was it? Long-term COVID?
Yes. Ang nangyari dito, they followed up. Majority of those who develop diabetes or itong mga serious complications within 12 months, number one are the elderly population. So may mga edad na rin. Pangalawa, meron din comorbidities like yung overweight. Isa yan sa mga nakikita nila doon. And then, yung isang mga nakita nila, may mga family history of diabetes, family history of mga hypertension, can also be an important factor. Kaya siguro, meron silang nakita na it's not only for those patients who develop moderate and severe COVID, but there are also even a very mild COVID who develop these complications. But and as long as they are elderly, they have other comorbidities, mataas pa rin. Kaya ang message natin dito, Sir Cito, is that huwag tayong magpakampante, Even if you are younger population, even if you don't have the severe COVID, mild lang yan, pero yung mga comorbidities nyo or may mga edad nyo can also be triggered to develop these long-term complications.
No, I'm kind of wondering about that because why the emphasis on COVID when listening to you and based on all the readings I've done on the subject matters different related to COVID, ang lumalabas, the predominant suspect is the lifestyle and comorbidity. Kasi, as you pointed out, yung matatanda, tatamaan kaming matatanda because we are old, okay? It is the degeneration of our bodies. Now, second, yung mga matataba, no offense meant, pero kung sumama ng loob nyo, it's the reality na people who are overweight were the ones who were falling like flies, dying, etc., or who tend to get sick faster than the guy who was not fat or overweight. And then, so why the association with COVID instead of focusing on teka, kung kayo overweight, may comorbidity at matanda, kayo tatamaan, which is natural.
Yes, ganito yan, no? During the time na nagka-COVID yan, no? And we know that COVID can induce inflammation sa katawan natin, no?
Okay.
And this inflammation, we initially thought that the inflammation will only be during the time of the acute symptoms. Ibig sabihin, nung nagka-sintomas ka, nung nagka-COVID ka. But there are new data now na even after the symptom, the inflammatory markers are still elevated. And in most of these patients na persistently elevated yung mga inflammatory markers, this is where the elderly, those with comorbidities, those who are immunocompromised, they are prone to have this persistent elevation of the inflammatory markers, which can be the signal why with persistent inflammation 6 months after, 8 months after, they develop these complications.
Okay. Doc Rontgene, you just touched on my favorite subject matter of this year, inflammation, inflammatory markers. For the sake or for the benefit of our viewers, please explain the concept of inflammation. Kasi for the longest time in history in the Philippines, akala natin inflammation, manas o maga. Yung if you got a bump, you will have a, if you were hit, trauma, you will have a bump. That's inflammation or pamamaga. If you are retaining water, yun yung manas. But you're talking about a different concept of inflammation.
Yes. Now, when you have the acute infection, the virus goes to your body. Ang katawan natin is we have our built-in immune response, no? So lalabanan ng katawan natin 'yan. And how does our body react to that? We produce mga anti-inflammatory agents to just neutralize the virus, no? But at the same time, when those anti-inflammatory agents are being produced, there's also an ongoing inflammation kasi naglalaban-laban ang virus at saka yung immune response natin sa katawan, lumalabas na namamaga rin, namamaga ang bato, namamaga ang lungs, namamaga ang puso. Now, after we recovered from COVID, yung pamamaga na yan, in some population that I have mentioned, kagaya ng comorbidities or matanda, will remain at the level of an abnormal level. Hindi siya bumababa, no? So which means that talagang there is something in that part na nagka-acute infection siya that trigger was still there. Hindi naging normal in some of these patients to the point na natama ng pancreas. So that's why you have diabetes, no? Because pancreas is the organ responsible for producing an insulin, which will also regulate our sugar. So natama ng pancreas, natama ng puso. Most of these patients, Cito, with diabetes also have problems in the heart. They can be hypertensive, meron silang mga bara sa puso, and that makes it really complicated complications.
Okay, so in one part, we are talking about people who are quote-unquote unhealthy, whether physiologically sa katawan unhealthy sila dahil mabibigat sila or whatever, or matatanda or may sakit. Now, but we're still talking about COVID. Now, with COVID, most people think, may virus, inubo ako, sinipon ako, naging pneumonia, namatay ako, or nagkaroon ng heart attack. Now, but before all of that, what did the virus do to trigger all of this? What is the first attack of the virus? Because everyone was talking about nasal passage, throat, lungs, pero sabi ko, kahit naman trangkaso, ganun din kahit ubo, ganun din. What made it different?
Yeah, that's a very good question, no? Alam mo, ang galing mo magtanong, ha? Now, the virus, no, binds to a particular cell that carries a particular receptor, yung tinatawag natin na ACE2 receptor, no? That is in the cell. So ibig sabihin, yun yung parang glue ng virus. Nakikita niya yung cell na may ACE2 receptor, magnet niya yun. And we found out that ACE2 receptor is really abundant in the lungs, in the heart, in almost all organs. No? So ibig sabihin, hindi lang yan throat papasok. Pag papasok na yan sa dugo natin, pupunta din yan sa iba't ibang organs natin where you have all of these ACE2 receptors. And that's what we emphasize na itong COVID na to, it's not just a respiratory tract infection. It's a multi-organ type of infection.
Ayun. So it enters by binding. Okay, so it's a virus to a receptor multiplied, parang ano no? Hindi na ako magko-comment, baka ma-demanda na ako dito. Okay, dumadami, nanganganak, and then it basically, yun yung sinasabi mong it inflames because its population gets more and more and it eats up, destroys, disturbs the system. So parang nagkaka-crisis within the system, within the lungs, the heart, etc. Pero paano tayo nauwi sa diabetes?
Because of that inflammation, the pancreas was not able, cannot anymore produce the insulin that it's supposed to protect us when we have our sugar elevated. So yung lifestyle natin, hindi tayo nag-iingat sa diet, And then at the same time, we gain weight. Gaining weight is also part of decreasing our insulin. So multifactorial na yun because of the effect of COVID, because of our lifestyle, because of our age, and because of the comorbidities.
And I suppose it's also because of the revenge mentality. Parang, hello, I almost died. I became 50-50. I suffered so much. So live and let live na tayo or make the most. Kasi talaga naman, Doc, ang dami na. Pati ako, guilty na ako na parang, not in the lifestyle of kain, but there are certain areas that I didn't normally invest in. Pero ngayon parang, hindi, baka madali na buhay natin. Mag-enjoy na tayo. Are there a lot of ex-COVIDs, hindi ex-convicts, ex-COVID patients na are manifesting that revenge eating, revenge behavior?
Yes, and in fact, Sir Cito, I always remind my patients, na post-COVID, after that, we have to check your sugar, you have to check your fat content, And in fact, I reminded them, ngayong Pasko, yung mga naka-recover, huwag kayong masyado sa lifestyle niyo dahil hindi natin alam ang taas ng risk ng stroke if you have post-COVID, ang taas ng risk ng heart failure at saka yung tinatawag natin na heart attack, And maski sasabihin niyo pang, nagka-COVID ako 6 months, 8 months, but the data is telling us you have a higher risk if you will not take care of your body, if you will just be eating a lot and you have recovered from COVID. So please, kung ngayong Christmas, dahan-dahan pa rin, especially if you have previous history of COVID, but because we don't know. So it may lead to complications that we don't know that will be triggered because of the holiday.
Okay, Doc Rontgene, how do we manage unseen inflammations? Kasi I have a blood test even without doctors requiring it. Every 3 months, nagpapa-blood test ako. And in the last 2, meron na akong marker na hindi ko gusto. Sabi, you have elevated white cells. Ang problema, hindi ko alam. Kasi di ba pag elevated white cells, there's an infection somewhere that my body is fighting. Ang problema, sabi ko, tinamaan ng ewan. Paano ko ngayon malalaman kung saan yung infection, ano yung gagawin ko? Kasi hindi naman katulad dyan ng other diseases. Yung sa Pilipinas, banatan mo lang na antibiotics yan, which is stupid, really stupid. Go to the doctor, ask for evaluation and prescription. But how do we manage this inflammation voodoo?
Yes, ang ginagawa nga namin ngayon sa mga patients, especially for the vulnerable population, I usually considered mga 50 years old, medyo high risk ka na, We do a lot of this test, at least 3 to 6 months. Tama yung ginagawa mo. And then overall yan, kasama na yung sa heart, kasama na yung sa lungs, kasama na yung sa bato and liver, And at the same time, we always tell them na talagang you have to check your blood pressure, you have to check your heart rate every now and then, And then yung i-manage mo yung diet mo na hindi masyadong ganun din ka taas ang mga fat content. Even if you have a dose normal, maganda yon, but they have to be followed up at least 6 months, every 6 months to really monitor all these mga parameters, mga laboratory tests.
Okay, but Doc Rontgene, I got the impression reading on all of this stuff, itong mga tests, mga inflammation, etc. I got the impression that the current menu of blood tests are outdated. In fact, a number of physicians abroad have said those are just standard checks, but they are not good enough anymore with the variety of diseases and complications and lifestyle challenges of people. You have to talk to your physician and ask for a better set of tests. Ano ba? Kasi hindi ba ngayon, the most current na for people my age, sabi nila magpa-check ka ng PSA, which is for anong tawag nun? Yung ano na nga ba yan?
Prostate gland.
Prostate, di ba? Prostate exam. Pagkatapos may mga nagsasabi, you have your cholesterol check. And then when I studied all of this, itong mga functional medicine experts, they're saying, hello, there are new sets of cholesterol tests, but mukhang wala dito sa Pinas nun, Doc Rontgene.
Yeah, actually, itong mga cholesterol, sugar, no, yung mga PSA, these are just screening tests, no? And physicians can also order more specific and more sensitive tests. Kung meron silang nakikita talaga na medyo signals doon sa mga screening tests, no? Kagaya ng sabihin ko lang sa iyo, no, kagaya ng mga matatanda, no, as they reach 60 years old, sabihin natin hypertensive. And then
are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Tapos may mga maintenance medication. So I think it's important that they will also have to the echo, para lang makita yung function ng heart nila. And then to the point na sometimes they'll have to do what they call stress to the echo, yung parang the treadmill ka. And these are more predictors na of an event na pwede nating ma-predict. Kasi alam mo, Sir Cito, the most important lang dito, what event or what event in your body that will be significant. Dalawa lang yan, yung sa puso at saka sa lungs. And most of the time, ang puso ang hindi natin masyadong naalagaan. And I would like to segue here, Sir Cito, no? Aside from COVID, no, and we just celebrated World Pneumonia Day last week. The other problem with the vulnerable population is not just COVID. There is also influenza. Influenza can also lead to stroke and heart failure.
We're talking trangkaso. We're talking the common garden variety trangkaso.
Yeah, yes. And for the elderly population, for the 50 years old and above, these are not ordinary trangkaso because there are data already telling us they may not present with the ordinary ubo. They will just go to the hospital because of stroke, because of heart attack. Tapos nakikita pala, they have influenza, they have flu infection. So bakuna pa rin ang sagot natin dyan, and that's why we are really promoting flu vaccination, pneumococcal vaccination sa mga elderly population because this is another layer of protection against these mga long-term complications.
Okay, I already had the pneumonia vaccination. I think I'm going to have or I'm supposed to do the flu already, palipas na. But we always say kung senior citizen ka, do this. But may mga nadadaling mga bata. What are the red flags for those who are 60 below or 50? Because, it's so sad. I keep hearing about, so-and-so had an aneurysm. So-and-so had a heart attack. Teka. He's half my age. How on earth did that happen? Did he get COVID? No, kuya. He just fell. She just collapsed.
Yes. Sa mga bata, no, especially 18 years old and above na are also at risk, kadalasan dito, hindi talaga to healthy population na purely healthy. There are those who are smokers, who drinks a lot of alcohol. And they are not consulting with their doctors. Nanigarilyo, umiinom ng alak, kulang sa tulog. These are very stressful conditions and this can also elicit more inflammation sa body. And because they're young, mataas-taas ang threshold niyan. Pero pag gagawin mo yan, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, araw-araw, sino bang hindi bibigay niyan? They will just drop like flies, no? And they have heart attack.
Yeah, there are also people na sabi ko nga, they over-exercise, they overwork, they don't smoke, they don't drink, they think they're healthy. Sabi ko, pare-pare, pinapatay mo yung sarili mo kasi yung katawan mo hindi yan makina na pwedeng pa-overhaul. Pag yan nadali, putok barbula ka. So, it's not just the older people. We are by nature endangered, ika nga nila. But the younger, they are a threat to themselves.
Yes, because they overdo a lot, and at the same time dahil sa kulang sa tulog, and you know that these are really simple things in life. Yung kulang sa tulog, maraming ginagawa, these are really stress sa kanila. Even if they're young, they can accommodate that, but if they will do that regularly, there will come a time bibigay din talaga sila.
Okay, last question, Doc Rontgene, because we've run out of time regarding the COVID triggered diabetes, etc., and inflammation, maliban sa good lifestyle, etc. Meron pa bang iba, or is there a screening available in the Philippines to tell us whether we are in the same population as those in America in that test?
So far, those are the tests that we usually do. Ang importante lang dito, they have to follow up with their doctors, and regular follow-up really will help you predict and anticipate some of these complications.
Ayun. Okay. Thank you very much, Doc Rontgene. As always, medyo very informative ang ating, mabigat, informative ang ating conversation. But thank you for being available and of service to our people.
Thank you, and good morning, Sir Cito.
Okay, God bless you, Doc Rontgene. And we'll go for a quick break. After the break, we go to our second interview, Usapang Gigi. Hinagpis tungkol sa Gigi Galunggong. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. And if you've had a chance to read the papers lately, you are likely to have come across the story or the sentiments expressed by Philippine fisher folks kung saan naghihinagpis sila because the Department of Agriculture is once again resorting to imported solutions, meaning import this, import that. Kung nung panahon bill mo, okay, bili mo ko this, bili mo ko that, yung mga mga whatever, ngayon hindi. Import this, import that. Let's bring in our next guest with this intro video.
Fernando Hicap is the national chairperson of the fisherfolk group Pambansang Lakas ng Kilusang Mamamalakaya ng Pilipinas or PAMALAKAYA. Aside from this, he led other fisherfolk groups such as the Samahan ng Mangingisda sa Tumalaytay and Lambat, Bicol. Hicap, who is also called the Scapando, was the representative of the party list group Anak Pawis in the 16th Congress.
Okay, good morning, Kapando. Welcome back to the program. Kamusta na kayo?
Ay, okay lang, Kasito, no? At sa ating mga taga-subaybay, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Okay, Kapando, the other day, nagsabi kayo ng sentimento ng mga namamalakaya or fisher folks na tungkol dito sa plano ng Department of Agriculture to import several hundred metric tons ba o several thousand metric tons ng galunggong. Ano ba nangyayari?
25,000 metric tons daw ang kailangan nating i-import, no? Ngayong last quarter nitong taon, no? Dahil daw doon sa pagpapatupad ng fishing ban. Kaya nga kami talaga ay sobra, no? Na naghihimuto at nagpapaabot ng opposition sa programang ito. Kami kasi yung tinatamaan at hindi po tama na polisiya na kung magpapatupad tayo ng fishing ban ay mag-i-import tayo. Mali po yun, no? Hindi po kami tutol doon sa pagpapatupad ng fishing ban o close season sa panahon ng breeding ground kasi kailangan din talaga, no? Ng ating mga isda na makapag-itlog para makapagparami, para maging sustainable, no? Yung supply sa atin ng pagkain. Pero hindi dapat importation. Napakarami po, no? Ng ating klaseng isda. At hindi naman sabay-sabay yung pagpapatupad ng fishing ban Magkakaiba pong buwan. Halimbawa, sa Visayan Sea, sa Sulu Sea, ganun din sa Palawan, hindi po yan magkakasabay, no? At ang fishing ban po, ang pinagbabawal lang ay yung mga commercial fishing vessel. Hindi po kasama dapat kami, no, ng mga maliliit na mangisda na tangi ang inaasahan lamang ng kanilang pang-araw-araw ng pangailangan ng pamilya ay yung mga pangingisda. Kaya kapag gano'n na nagpatupad ka ng fishing ban, ang tatamaan po doon kami. Kasi babagsak po lalo yung mababang presyo na bilihan sa amin ng mga local traders. Mas klarong titindi yung pagbaba, no, sa kabila nung hindi na namin kayang pasanin yung patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng gasolina, ng krudo na halos 80% ng kabuuang gastos namin sa bawat laot ay napupunta na lang doon sa gasolina. Tapos babagsak pa kami ng importation. Talagang kawawa na po yung magiging kalagayan.
Para lang maintindihan ng ating mga tagapanood, okay, sabi mo, hindi yan sabay-sabay. Hindi yan, kumbaga, uumpisahan mo ng January, tatapusin mo ng April. Iba-ibang buwan, iba-ibang lugar. Now, at saka iba-ibang klaseng isda yan, di ba? Kasi may lugar na pag nagbe-breeding, yung lugar na yon hindi naman lahat ito panggalunggong lang, hindi ba?
Yes, tama po. Tama po 'yon, no? Yung ang pulisiya na inaprubahan ng BIPAR, no, at mga joint circulation para sa pagpapatupad ng DILG and BIPAR kaugnay dito sa fishing ban ay magkakaibang buwan, no? Okay. Iba yung buwan doon sa Sulu Sea, iba rin yung buwan dito sa Visayan Sea at ganoon din sa Palawan. Tama po 'yun, no? Tama po 'yun yung ganong patakaran. Kasi pag
Gaano
tayo ng
ga,
ganon, nasabay-sabay, mas lalong malaki yung volume, no, na mawawala sa panahon ng fishing ban.
Okay, pero gaano ba kalaki ang epekto or impact nitong mga off-season, ika nga, kasi wag naman natin tawagin fishing ban, di ba? Kumbaga off-season lang yan.
Yes.
Pag nag-off-season sa Palawan, ilang metric tons ba ng galunggong ang nawawala sa merkado at saka saan? Kasi parang ang talaga lang naman ay may volume capacity, hindi ba ano lang naman Metro Manila, Cebu at Davao. Hindi naman yan yung buong Pilipinas magdudusa pag nagka-fishing ban.
Tama po, Cito, ano, na maliit na portion lang yung maapektuhan. Kung saan tayo magpapatupad ng off-season, actually tama. And correct talaga, hindi fishing ban, off-season sa mga commercial fishing vessel. Kasi yung mga small fisherfolk, dapat walang off-season kasi walang kakainin niya, no? Kapag hindi nakapangisda. Hindi natin makuha yung kabuuang volume kasi mga iba-ibang data nila inilalabas ng DET BIPAR. Kung matatandaan natin, last year, no? Noong 2021, yung pagpapatupad ng fishing ban, sabi nila 6,000 metric tonelada yung kulang, no? Mas malaki ito noong 2017 na 17,000 metric tonelada lang. Pero last year, yung huling bahagi, no? Quarter ng 2021, 60,000. At pagpasok ng first quarter na itong taon na 2022, muli, sabi nila, kailangan pa natin mag-import na additional 60,000 metric tonelada, no? At nung matapos yung mga second quarter o August, sabi na naman nila, kailangan na naman natin mag-import ng 90,000 metric tonelada dahil doon sa epekto ng bagyo. Kaya kung yung mga ganong dahilan, makikita mo kaagad na mayroong hidden agenda talaga yung import liberalization at wala talagang konkreto na batayan kung mag-ilan ang volume na mawawala. Kasi hindi nga nila ma-determine kung ilan talaga yung...
Kapando, saan ba napupunta? Kasi pag ako pumupunta sa supermarket at nagpapabili ng galunggong sa palengke, wala naman Sabi sa akin, sabi ko, ba't kaliliit ng mga galunggong na yan? Parang ng dilis yan saan napupunta lahat siyang ini-import? Baka naman mamaya mo yung ini-import ay hindi naman for consumer kung hindi para sa mga canning. Kasi, yung mga gumagawa ba ng sardinas, ginagamit ba yun sa sardinas?
Oo, actually, yun ang dapat, no? Yung batas natin para mag-import kapag nagkaroon ng shortage para sa cannery. Hindi dapat sa market binibinta. Pero sa kalakalan, ay umaabot na sa merkado, lalong-lalo na kapag nag-announce o nagpahayag ang Department of Agriculture at ang BIPAR na meron tayong shortage ng supply ng isda, babaha na naman yung mga imported. Pero madaling makilala Tama po kayo, yung ating galunggong ay medyo maliliit pero mga makikintab yung balat niya, no? At yung laman at sariwa at pati yung mata niya ay talagang hindi namumula. Pero kapag ang galunggong, lalo na yung mga malalaki na medyo malaki, ay pula na yung mata at may pula na guhit na sa katawan. Yung pumuputok na yung tiyan, yun po ay mag-alangan na tayo magbili nun. Yun po ay mga frozen imported na galunggong.
Yun yung binablast freeze. At saka hindi ba nagkaroon ng controversy noon? Meron daw ilang mga imported frozen na parang binababad sa chemical para wag mabulok agad.
Yes, tama po yun. Hindi lang sa atin yun. Proven na yan sa iba't ibang mga pag-aaral, no? Sa iba't ibang bansa. Yung mga ini-import nilang isda, no? Ay meron talagang chemicals. At ang mayorya na nalalaman na ginagamit ay yung formalin. Di ba sa ano lang naman ginagamit dapat to sa tao, no? Para hindi mabulok yung cadaver. Pero
ginagamit sa bangkay. Hindi para gawing kang bangkay.
Kaya yun po yung problema. Kaya
Okay,
nga sabi namin,
pero
bakit pa
Kapando,
tayo?
pero Kapando, paano nila na-justify yung i-import nila? Ilan kamo? Ilang thousand metric tons? 200?
25,000 metric ton nila lang ngayon, no?
Oh,
Ngayong last quarter nitong taon.
quarter pa lang. Hindi yan
Yep.
yung buong taon. So walang garantiya. There is no guarantee that even with the removal of, with the openings of fishing season, pwede pa rin magtuloy-tuloy ang importation na yan.
Oo, kasi hanggang first quarter yung kabuang off-season, no, na sa atin, last quarter of the year, saka first quarter of susunod na taon. Kaya bali 6 na buwan, no, yung off-season. Bagamat sa mga iba't ibang lugar. Ang isang lugar na deklaradong off-season, 3 buwan yan. September to December, January to February, March, ganun yung inaabot.
Okay, so wala ba kayong paraan? Do you have no option? Pwede ba nyo dalhin ito sa korte? Go to court for restraining order, etc. Kasi parang kung palagay nyo, sandali, nagpapatupad kayo ng patakaran na dihado kaming mangingisda, dali na namin kayo sa hukuman.
Wala pa sa amin, di pa sa amin yan, no? Pero pag-aaralan namin. Magandang idea yan, no? Para nang sa gayon ay ma-preempt na natin itong maling pulisiya na sa bawat taon na pagpapatupad natin ng fishing ban ay kailangan nating mag-import. Kasi ganito yun Cito. Halimbawa, alam natin kung saan tayo magpapatupad ng ganitong off-season At alam natin, at tiyak na alam niya ng BDA at BIPAR, ilang tonelada ang mawawala, no, sa panahon na yan, sa lugar na yan. At alam din ng BIPAR kung saan pwede tayo kumuha pa ng ibang may surplus, ano, na produkto ng isda para dalhin doon. Diba? Ang kailangan lang talaga maayos na programa na mismo dito sa atin manggagaling yung produkto para madala doon sa mga lugar kung saan meron tayong pinapatupad na off-season, no? Lalong-lalo na yung aquaculture natin. Yung aquaculture, madali nating i-programa yun Kung sa panahon ng off-season, ito yung kailangan nating
pero matanong ko, may nakikita ka ba niyan? Kasi Kapando, hindi mo natatanong. Matagal ako naglagay sa Palawan, nag-aral ako niyang mga kung ano-anong mga floating fish cages na yan, pagpapalaki ng... pero dun sa pinaglagyan ko, parang ako lang yung nagtayo ng floating fish cage Meron ka bang nakikitang ginagawa ng BIFAR o ng Department of Agriculture? Are there actually established projects doon sa mga nasasakupan ng mga inyong samahan?
Actually, yung aquaculture kasi hindi namin kaya yun Very expensive yan. Ang may kakayanan dyan ay yung mayroong mga kapital at mga korporasyon, no? Kasi ang kaya lang namin sa aquaculture yung land feeding yung tahong, yung talaba, no, na hindi namin kailangan magpakain. Ito yung pwede naming i-culture. Kaya lang threatened ngayon dahil sa reklamasyon, no? Halimbawa dito sa Manila Bay. So wipe out na yung reklamasyon na ginagawa ng pribado.
Pero so ang ibig mo sabihin, wala kang masasabing tulong ng gobyerno para kayong mga mangingisda ay maitataguyod sa fish culture, aquamarine culture, etc. Kasi sabi mo, wala kayong pangkapital. Ang daming pinagmamagaling ng mga ilang mga presidente na nabuhay at namatay. Nagsasabing kooperatiba, sa kanayunan, etc. May mga technology transfer. Wala.
Well, actually, wala talaga. Actually, yung gamit at paraan pa rin ng panguhuli namin ay ganun pa rin. Atrasado, maliitan, at hiwa-hiwalay na katangian. At meron kaming namomonitor na ilan ng mga grupo na nabigyan ng fish cage. Ang problema doon, hindi rin ma-maintain, no? Kasi yun nga, paano nila i-maintain yun kung wala naman silang araw-araw na kita. Kaya mas kailangan din talaga yung hindi lang doon sa binigyan mo sila ng gamit at fingerling ay kaya ng paano yun, no? Paunlarin. Mas kailangan pa rin yung intervention, lalong-lalo na nakukuha na suporta kaugnay dyan sa aquaculture. At ang isa sa ideas namin sana, no, dito sa aquaculture, dapat community-based or cooperative para maiwasan natin yung yung awayan doon sa area. Kasi pag pinayagan natin yung ganitong sistema magpatuloy, yung private na control ng mga aquaculture, darating ang panahon ay talagang liliit ang ating pangisdaan at magbubunga ito ng matinding pollution sa ating pangisdaan tulad ng Laguna de Bay, no? Yung Laguna de Bay naman, kung bakit naging polluted yan dahil nga doon sa sinaraduhan na yung napindan na out and na tubig, sa Manila Bay at saka Laguna de Bay. At yun na din yung rampant ng mga korporadong mga piskidis dyan.
Last question ko na lang. Okay. Last question ko, Kapando. Yung bilang ng mga namamalakaya or fisherfolk, pakonti na ba ng pakonti katulad ng mga magsasaka? Because that is the fear of experts and people who study agriculture, na baka in 10 to 20 years, wala nang gustong magsaka ng bigas at kahit sa pangingisda, kung babariling ka lang doon sa laot o kaya sasagasaan ka ng malaking bapor, baka sabihin na ng iba, kayo na lang ang mangisda, kain na lang ako ng manok.
Tama po yun, no? Nakakabahala po yung gano'n. Actually, sa mga magsasaka natin, hindi naman ibig sabihin na ayaw na magsaka ng mga anak ng mga magsasaka. Gusto pa rin nila magsaka, kaya lang, ang problema, hindi sarili nila yung lupa. Kapag magsasaka ka na hindi mo sariling lupa, automatic 20% lang yung kita mo doon Yung 80%, 50% pupunta doon sa landlord, sa may-ari ng lupa. Yung 30% ay doon yun sa gastos. Kaya malaki kung sa mga isda yan, tama po yun, no? Lalong-lalo na dito sa kinakampanya ng mga commercial fishing na papasukin sila sa municipal fishing ground na yung 15 kilometers based doon sa fisheries code na exclusively para sa mga malilit na mangingisda, yung 3 tons pababa, ito lang ang totally, kapag pinayagan natin yun, ubos talaga yung ating resources.
Okay. O sige, Kapando, medyo ubos oras tayo today, pero hayaan nyo, babantayan natin yung issue na yan at kami nakasuporta sa inyong mga namamalakaya sa mga fisherfolk. Thank you very much, sir.
Maraming salamat po, Cito, at sa inyong programa. Malaking bagay po ito para sa amin, no? Para mapag-usapan at madinig ng mga kababayan natin kung ano ang ating position at ano ang dapat nating gawin. Maraming pong salamat. Pabuhay po ang inyong programa.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's now go to our closing blessing for the week. And it comes from the book of Psalm 20, verses 1 to 4. May the Lord answer you when you are in distress. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. May He send you help from the sanctuary and grant you support from Zion. May He remember all your sacrifices and accept your burnt offerings. May He give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. Thank you once again for joining us here on Agenda. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News.